The title isn't clickbait. You have to be brave to grant fund your startup, because grants are lonely. And I know this sounds weird, but give me 23 seconds. Meet Stanford psychologist Harry Harlow, best known for this experiment. Basically, he set up 2 monkey mannequins in a room, one made out of wire that had milk, and one made out of soft cloth that had no milk. Then he put a baby monkey in the room. And the big insight was that the baby bonded with the mannequin that made them feel safe and secure, not the monkey that had what they actually needed. So feelings trump substance. And I think that founders live in a similar world. There are grants that give us the cash we need, but which are cold and sterile. Then there are VCs that make us feel great, but take a pound of flesh or equity for their help. And most of us go with the VCs. So here are 3 things to think about as you're planning your funding, because your choices will impact your happiness. So the first one depends on whether you're starting a business to have an adventure or to create something. And there's no right answer here, just honest ones. I'm a venture partner at J2 Ventures, and I advise the government on their startup engagement. My point is, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and hear about how they built their businesses. And the venture-funded founders have awesome stories. They're like the training montage from Rocky or The Karate Kid, but business. It's late nights building the deck, flying around the country pitching, calling in favors to get meetings, big showdowns and negotiations, near misses, and colorful characters. And like any good story, it climaxes with them getting funded and feeling like $1 million, even if the check was only for a few thousand. Then I talked to grant-funded companies, and their funding stories kind of suck. They talked about how tedious and demoralizing the process was, how complex the applications were, and how confusing the proposal is, and all the anxiety. So lesson 1, if having an adventure and stories to tell at the bar are important to you, grants are probably a bad choice. Second, being a founder is one long panic attack that no one else understands. And if you need external validation to manage that anxiety, well, this is what grants will give you. Why am I getting an email from RoboMailer at Army.mil? Oh shit, I won that SBIR I applied for a year ago. I never heard anything, so I assumed I'd lost. How much did I get? $223,000? That's amazing! Dear Army, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you! Okay, well, this is cool, I guess. Conversely, when you get VC funding, the investors are telling you how great you are, how special you are, that this assures your success. And those VCs are super smart and have awesome vests, and they're paid to choose winners. And they chose you. Sure, they took 5 to 20% of your company along the way, but for a founder who's been living in a blanket of self-doubt, anxiety, and fear, there is nothing more intoxicating than this affirmation and validation. So second lesson, if you grant fund, you need other sources of emotional support, and you'll need to host your own celebration, because the government isn't going to do it. And the third thing to know, for whatever reason, getting venture funding is validating in the eyes of other people. While winning a grant won't make your family, friends, partners, and other founders start believing in you or your company. And this matters. If people are pressuring you to get a real job, a grant might not assuage their concerns. If you've been trying to convince a strategic hire to join your company or an early customer to buy your software, a grant probably won't convince them that it's safe. So lesson 3, when you get federal funding, you get a check, no pixie dust. So you need to be in a good place with the people around you and be ready to sell your company and your product on the merits, not on a VC's validation. So yeah, federal funding land is drab and completely neglects our emotional needs. But when you're federally funded and you hear someone bragging about their latest round, buy them a drink. Not to congratulate them, but to drown their sorrow. Because they just gave away 5 to 20% of their baby, and they'll never get that back. So, if you're tough enough, it's time to find the right grants for you. So check out the video on the left, and if you want an open and honest conversation about the practical and human journey of grant funding from a team that took their product all the way to market with just grants, check out the interview on the right.